A very good afternoon to all of you, and let us now start today's second session. In the earlier session, we had discussed why is it important to understand the business environment, what are the nature of a business environment, why does it become important for an business organization to understand business environment? So let us now try to understand how does a business environment has its impact on a business organization. And in understanding it is better to make an analysis what is called as pestle analysis. Now, pestle analysis is a abbreviation for or which stands for political factors, economic factors, social factors, technological factors, environmental factors, and legal factors. If you can recall back earlier in your principle and practice of management, we have studied the same concept under what is called as the internal and external environment of a business. We shall definitely discuss regarding that later on. So, this pestle analysis comes under the external environment, and in external environment, it comes under macro environment of a business organization. Now, doing a pestle analysis for a business organization becomes important from the point that in this modern business, a business manager operates in a most dynamic environment. Now, to speak about dynamic environment, it is an environment which changes every now and then, or in other words, there would be a continuous change in how the business has to be dealt with. Now, the change in the environment is firstly very rapid in nature, and also it is unpredictable in nature. And we should also remember that these days, maybe it is a consumer or the clients of the business, they tend to show complex behaviors, not only in terms of the local market but also in international market also. And one more thing that we should remember is that the most dramatic change has been from the side of the competitors, or what do we call as competitive pressure. Now, this has become very important because nowadays, than ever before, competitors are increasing day by day, and also that competitors have, usually apply one strategy or other to adapt to this dynamic and unpredictable nature of business environment. So it becomes important for us to understand this pestle analysis. Okay, the first one is political factors. Now, to speak about political factors, the political factors identify how and to what extent or to what degree a government has its intervention in the economy. That is to tell, in you doing business, what is the intervention of the government in which your business organization is situated? Would they allow to do a business or to take decisions freely, or is there any kind of intervention from the side of the government every now and then? Now, freely does not mean that you can do business in whatever way you wish. There are certain rules and regulations that you will have to follow no matter in which country or in which place your business organization will be situated. But when you compare the political situation of one place to other, to what extent the intervention could be done is what they are trying to tell here. Now, especially the intervention from the side of the government can be in terms of or in areas such as tax policy, it could be labor law, it can be environmental law, or it can be trade restrictions, it can be tariffs or political stability. Now, tax policy becomes important from the point of view that majority portion of what you earn, if at all you'll have to give that in the form of tax, nobody would be ready to set up their business organization in such place. And also you'll have to go according to the environmental law or and also labor law. Now, trade restrictions and tariffs would be taken by any government, one mainly from the purpose of protecting their domestic industry. Whenever our country feels that their domestic industries are being manipulated by those who are outside the country, they would definitely take such measures wherein they would either put some kind of trade restrictions or they would increase the tariffs on the goods that are being imported or exported so that they can protect the domestic industry of the country. Now, speaking about political factors sometimes also includes goods and services which the government wants to provide or be provided. Now, when I tell this government wants to provide or be provided, now these goods are called as merit goods and demerit goods. As the name suggests, merit goods refers to those goods which are good for consumption. Now, it need not be only goods, it can also be a service also. If at all the government feels that the particular goods that is being produced belongs to a what is called as demerit goods or merit bads category, they always put some kind of restriction on that. The government does all these things mainly because they will have to look after the health of the nation, or in other terms we can tell that to influence the health, education and infrastructure of the nation. Now the government puts either a restriction on some kind of goods and service, or there are also chances that they do take up some measures, especially in the area of export, to promote the manufacturing of some goods or to promote some kind of services. Moving further in the pestle analysis, the next one is economic factors. Now, speaking about economic factors, It mainly concentrates, as the name tells, on the economy or the factors wherein money is involved. Speaking about economic factors, the first thing we would look under that is economic growth. Along with the economic growth, it also includes maybe interest rates, exchange rates, and the inflation rates. Now, all these factors, maybe it is the interest rate, maybe the exchange rate, or the inflation rate, all these factors will have major impacts on how a business operates and takes decision. Okay. Now, to give an example of why all these kinds of interest rates or the exchange rates becomes important is that now for instance we can take that in a country where our business organization is set up, they might hike the interest rate. Now what happens when the interest rate hikes is that it will have direct impact on the cost of capital, especially of the working capital. Okay, now cost of capital is nothing but when we start a business organization on a very large scale, definitely all the money that would be put in will not belong to one person. Or, in other words, when you start either a private limited company or a public limited company, the capital that you have in your organization belongs to a set of people who are called as the owners of the company. Or you can also bring it in the form of debt, loan, or any other kind. Now, in getting these funds, you will definitely incur some of the expenses in the form of interest. That is being called as cost of capital. So whenever this interest rates increases, the expenses that the organization will have to bear will also be increasing. So definitely the economic factors has much more implication on the money or the fund flow of an organization. And also speaking about the exchange rates. Now the exchange rates affects all those companies which are into either exports or imports or both of this, especially when we are trying to tell that it is an MNC, definitely we would be either exporting or importing or maybe doing both. So the exchange rate will also matter. Speaking about inflation rate, whenever inflation rate increases, definitely the cost of manufacturing the product increases. So even the inflation rate will have direct bearing on the decisions that would be taken by the company. The next one in the pestle analysis is social factors. Now, social factors is nothing but all those aspects of the society in which our business organization is set up. Now, social aspects or factors include the cultural aspects, including health consciousness, population growth rate, age distribution, career attitudes, and emphasis on safety. And the trends or the shifts in the social factors affect directly the demand for a company's product and how the company operates. For example, you might have situated your organization in a environment wherein the population belongs to aged group, might be the majority of population belongs to 50 and above. In such a condition, what happens is that the more the labor that your organization wants, the more it will have to spend on the labor, or the expenses from the side of men increases, because definitely when it is aged group, they would not be as enthusiastic might be who belongs to the adult group of population. We can also study this in terms of how your organization's products would be getting demand. If at all your organization is into producing the products which belongs to the age group of 0 to 5, and if you set up your business organization wherein the majority of population belongs to old age group, definitely your organization's product will not be having more demand. So understanding all these aspects becomes important for a business organization in taking decisions. The next one is environmental factors. Now, as the name suggests, it includes the weather, climate, and climatic change, which may especially affect industries. Okay, now you can tell you're a manufacturing industry, all these things doesn't matter. Yes, accepted. But there are some industry, or there are some services which are provided based on all these things, especially our organization which is based on tourism or farming and insurance. All these things definitely matters. And also, when you speak about environmental factors, we can nowadays see that there is a growing awareness to climatic change, and people would definitely see how your business operates. They would definitely observe whether your organization has any kind of functions wherein the effect that you are going to have on the environment be reduced, whether you are taking any such steps. And if at all you are taking such steps, they are definitely going to have some soft corner towards what products you produce. And the last one in pestle analysis is legal factors. Now, under legal factors, all those rules, laws, and regulations are being analyzed. Now, this includes might be discrimination law, consumer law, antitrust law, employment law, and health and safety law. Now, speaking about antitrust law, it is nothing but a name given to competitive law. That is to tell, some of the times a government sees to that there can be no one company which monopolizes the market. And if at all they find that it is going on, they would come up with rules and regulation where there is no monopoly. So this is all about pestle analysis. I hope until now whatever we discussed is clear to you all. If at all you have any kind of doubts, please drop those messages in the chat box. either here on the WebEx meeting or in WhatsApp. So continuing further, the next topic is impact of business environment. Yes, now before moving forward, uh, I would like to mention one point, that is, do not confuse between the economic factor and the legal factors. Both of these are very, very different. Legal factors are nothing but rules and regulations of our government, and economic factor represents how the economy is being moved. Now, coming back to impact of business on environment. Now, definitely the environment in which the business is set up has its impact on business, and also when the business takes its decision, it will have impact on the environment also. That is a two-way process. For every action there would definitely be a reaction. Now, business decisions influences the employees who are working in the organization, the customers who buy the products of the organization, the suppliers, and also the competitors. The company's operations will also affect the communities, the governments, and the environment in which the business organization is set up. So, to understand the impact of these decisions, it is better for us to differentiate it into five different categories. One is to understand how the business will have its impact on the economy or the economic impact. Second one, what are the impact that the business will have on the society by having a governance in its operation. The third one is privacy. The fourth one is intellectual property. And the last one is environment. Speaking about the first, how does a business impact the economy of the place in which it is situated? Now, your organization might be small, might be a big organization, might be a MNC, or any kind of business. It will have impact on the society through the wages that you are going to pay to your employees, and also it will have an impact from the point that the materials you buy from your suppliers, and also from the price that you charge your customers. Your business is going to have a positive social impact on your employees if at all you pay them a very good wages or salary or benefit, and thereby you reduce the stress and the unexpected events that they are going to face. And your business will also have a positive impact on the society when you pay your suppliers fairly and on time, because all these things in the economy is a link. It is a chain of operation that happens. And also the business would have effect on the customers positively when the company gives value for the goods that they are going to produce. The second one is governance. Now, governance is nothing but the way in which the business is being done. Now, governance and corporate social responsibility are not one and the same. Corporate social responsibility speaks about what are the responsibility that a corporate company has to mandatorily do. But governance, irrespective of what kind of business you're having, it should be present. Governance is nothing but how transparent you are to the outsider. Now, the impact of governance on the society is that it contributes to the ethical climate of the society. For instance, we can take an example that a business might offer bribes to secure work or some other benefits. And when you do that, the society would think that you can never do any business without giving bribe. And you can do any kind of business if you give bribe. So the business is going to have impact on the society in terms of their ethical climate, or the business can also do accounting fraud, or it can break some of the regulations, rules, legal constraints, or while doing the business or operations. When a business does all these things, the ethics of the society suffers, and in addition it deteriorates the ethical environment. Okay, that does not mean a company has to be doing a company fraud to be in the negative side of governance. Even when a company which has a very good position in the market, if they involve themselves in price fixation, that can also be regarded as an unethical event. The next one is privacy. Speaking about privacy, here it is all about the information of the customer. Nowadays, the businesses are going online, and whether it is online or offline, uh, to process the orders and the delivery services, the companies definitely collect the personal information of their customers. Now, when they collect this information, some informations would definitely be sensitive. For example, companies which deliver medical services and which has medical histories of their customers on the files are very very sensitive in nature. Now, the business will have negative impact on the society if consumers find out that companies are not keeping such informations either securely, or if at all they are selling this to the third parties. Now, the lack of trust inhibits the free exchange of personal and private information that facilitates carrying of the business effectively. The next one is intellectual property. Now, a business should give respect for the patents and copyrights. It is both social and ethical issue. Now, some of the business might own some of the intellectual property, and they use it for others. Now, when they do that, they have to operate with a balance that protects their own interests in a responsible way, and also while avoiding infringing patents and copyrights. If business either act excessively in protecting their intellectual property or actively use that of others without permission, they risk their customers and hurting their public image. Now, this might be a bit difficult to understand. You might have heard terms like copyright, trademark, or patent. Now, these are the three different types of intellectual property a business does dealings with. Okay. Now, speak about copyright. It comes from the ideas of an individual. Okay, and where ideas can never be said to others or shown to others. But when you convert your ideas into a fixed form, that is to tell, might be in form of book, and when you get it under the government rules and regulations, you can get copyright over what you have done. That is especially for the books. Now, the next one is your patents. Patents usually involves innovation, how things could be done. Okay, and patents will have a time frame to what extent you're going to have those patents, and if at all others are using, or you can give them license for some minimal fees. The next one is trademark. Trademarks need not be always registered, but registering trademark will definitely have some of the advantages for an organization. Now, trademarks can be the name of the company, the designs that the company use, the logo of the company, or how the brand image of the company is there in the minds of the people. Now, the last one is environment. Now, one of the aspect that influences has influence on society is the environmental protections, the measures that are being taken from the side of the organization. Now, companies, if they accept it or not, they are definitely going to make some substantial direct contributions towards the greenhouse gases and the production of the waste. It might be less, it might be more, but definitely it would be there. Now, those business that implement environmental policies to use energy more efficiently, reduce waste, and in general lighten their environmental footprint can reduce their internal costs and promote a positive image of their company. Now, usually, when you speak about all this environment, this business, what happens is that there would be someone called as leader of the market or competitive leader. Now, whenever such organization takes some of the measures to protect the environment from the point of view of their competitors, it becomes, forceful for the competitors also to take such measures. So, how you impact towards the environment also becomes important. Now, going back to intellectual property, I would like to display a video wherein you can understand what is the difference between patents, trademarks, and the copyright. Okay, I guess there is some issue with the volume of the Yes, there is some kind of issue with the volume. So let me explain you all. What is the difference between this, uh, you know, trademarks, copyright, and your patents? Okay, now to speak about your trademark, okay. Now under your copyright, what happens is that you can either, copyright for take a copyright for your books. I guess there is some kind of disturbance in the network. So let me tell. When you speak about the copyright, especially you would be taking for books, okay, or any kind of ideas that you take, or a photography that you have done, a painting that you have created. Now, usually the copyright would be given for any person who would apply based on the originality of what has been applied for a time being of the entire life of the author plus 70 years. Now, the second one is patents. Here, especially the patents would be given for a time span of 20 years. Later, you will have to apply it for once again. And speaking about copyright, it can be considered as bundle of different sticks tied. Might be sometimes as a author, if you have got copyrighted for your book, sometimes you can give a right to a publisher to publish the book, or you can give right to somebody else to sell it. So it is very very different from patents. Patents are given for innovations, so that your ideas will not be stolen
ليه
from
مكة إلا درباه.
somebody else. Okay, now this patents will be given for 20 years. Later you'll have to renew it. Now those whoever use your idea will have to pay you something, provided that you ask, or that they use your patents. Now the last one is trademarks. Trademarks are nothing but the image that your company is going to have in the eyesight of your customers or in the eyesight of public. So all these three are different kinds of intellectual properties. And now let us recall whatever we studied in today's class, both session 1 and session 2. Now, to speak about business environment, it is basically a combination of internal and external factors that influence a company's operating situation. The business environment will definitely include clients, suppliers, competition owners, improvement in technology, laws and government activities, market, social and economic trends. Now, the nature of business environment is very much dynamic. It keeps on changing over a period of time. The changes in business environment are definitely unpredictable. It is very difficult to predict the exact nature of the future happenings, and also changes in economic and social environment. And also that business environment helps the business in determining the opportunities, threats, and growth direction over the period of time. And also in afternoon session, we understood the pestle and how it is a part of the external analysis when conducting a strategic analysis or doing market research, and how does it gives a certain overview of the different macro environmental factors that the company has to take into consideration. So I guess we shall wind it up here for today's session, and in tomorrow's session we shall continue. Wait until I take down your attendance, then you can leave the meeting. Yes, thank you class. We'll see you in tomorrow's session. Your meeting number and the password will be posted in your WhatsApp group. You can leave the class for today.